Hello, hello, hello. You may have just been coming from my part one of this video where I talk about mistakes most newcomers make. If not, this video I'm going to be sharing some personal stuff about the mistakes I made as a newcomer, and some I'm still making, to be honest. But hey, let's learn together, okay? Sit tight. Okay, so hi everybody, hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. My name is Janie, aka Janie of Canada, and on this channel we talk about everything life as a professional immigrant. So studying, working, living, thriving, running the business, the whole gamut. If that sounds like something you're interested in, especially all this energy, hit that subscribe button. If you're new, where you been? Hit it, come on. And if you are returning and subscribed, I missed you. Welcome back again. Okay, so I did a first video where I talked about like most mistakes I see that a lot of new immigrants make in my 5 years of experience. However, in this one, I'm going to be focusing, I've linked that video, but however, in this video, I'll be focusing a little bit more introspectively and talking to you guys, sharing with you all the mistakes I have been making as a newcomer to Canada and how I've learned from them. Okay, without further ado, let's get it. So the first thing I did back in 2015 that I kind of regret was not bringing my summer clothes. Yeah, like the normal stuff we wear back home in Nigeria, I should have brought more of those. And it's so funny because every time I go back, I grab stuff as I'm coming back. My sisters are like, I don't understand. Are you not in Canada? Why are you taking clothes from us? But it's a long story to say that Canadian shopping is quite expensive, and it's not as judging by my personal standards, it's not the greatest quality in comparison to what clothes back home in Nigeria look and feel like. So if you're coming and you're thinking of landing, to bring your office wear, your summer clothes, because you might be disappointed with the quality and the price of clothing here in Canada. That's my thought. If you have a different point, please throughout this video let me know. I want us to have a conversation, okay? Another mistake I made, and honestly this just comes from like childhood trauma, if I'm going to be honest with you, is not asking for help. I grew up as the first daughter and I had younger siblings, and I literally had to like help raise my sister, so I was very independent at a very young age. So one thing that caused is not being able to ask for help when I need it. Like I like to DIY and figure stuff out, and until I fall in on my face is when I will learn from that. So that was evident in the fact that I didn't get into my master's the time I wanted to. I've talked about it in my personal story about my immigration journey, but also I missed out on plenty of things. With keeping my mouth shut, I didn't know about like insurance and like how expensive it was and how I can get certain deals. I didn't know about rent, because honestly maybe it was until my second year that when I was looking for a place that I started telling people more about my need for apartment. With jobs, I know like in our culture where I'm from, it's you put your head down, you don't tell people until you get the bag, then you celebrate and have a party. But here I had to learn to switch that, to be like, yo, I'm looking for work in this field, because when a posting comes up, you want people to be thinking about you, right? So I'm learning more and more to open my mouth and ask for help. Another thing I did was buying expensive stuff when I first came in my first haul. I have a bougie brother, so I bought a bunch of like Calvin Klein, designer this. I honestly didn't know. I was just there calculating CAD to NGN and trying to figure out the cost implication, but also I was trusting on this person's expertise that I wasn't going above and beyond. If I had known then, I'll probably have done more thrift stores for immediate purchases of clothes, furniture, and all that stuff. Another mistake I personally made was not using credit right. Technically, thankfully, I wasn't going like crazy and withdrawing cash or anything. I was very wary of credit cards, to be honest. I wasn't even using it at all, which is also not the great way for the first little bit. And you don't want to spend more than your actual balance. So I had $500 when I came, and sometimes I'll spend up to $600 or $700 or something like that, and be like, oh, NSF, something like that. It was just, you don't want to spend more than you're allowed to, and you also want to use it but pay your balance in full if you can every month, okay? Again, I have a whole video on credit card usage and the best things to know if you're new. Check it out. Another thing I thought that was weird was from everything I've heard, that I really hope that Canadians will be very friendly. Well, at found that all that friendliness is sometimes hidden in some passive aggression where they can't be direct with you, especially because of the culture I come from. Things are very direct. Somebody doesn't like you, you know, pretty often, like, or pretty quickly, but here it's sometimes hard to tell. I've joked around how sometimes people will say, hey best friend, and you really think you got a best friend in one night of partying, but your best friend doesn't pick up your call the next day. It can get really lonely. It really can. And so knowing to make connections early and strong, and make strong connections. So for me, that happened from studying, it happened from going to church and meeting people there, things like that. Another thing I did was another mistake is I didn't really consider the cost of living in Toronto. It's very expensive living in this city. I don't know if I go back to 2015 if I'll change my mind, but if I'm coming in 2021, I probably won't choose Toronto to start with. There's a whole video on Toronto you can check on the channel. I also think I was assuming that Toronto was very much like the rest of Canada. Like, oh my god, if it's this fun, this like diverse, it'll be the same everywhere. It really wasn't. It really wasn't. Kingston, my master's, like all those type of places, it taught me to be humble. Some things is just a fun one, but another mistake I made too was like converting everything to the point where it was really annoying my brother. Converted everything to Naira. Like, it's not so much a mistake, but it's a funny thing because you will lose your mind if you're trying to compare everything, because it doesn't equate. Like, it doesn't at all. Like, services like getting your hair done in Nigeria, for instance, wouldn't cost you more than 20,000 Naira, but here it'll cost you upwards of $100, which doesn't make any sense. So there's really no need comparing cost of services in home country and here. Just look at budgets for things and compare within Canada, right? Don't do that to yourself. Another mistake I made that was quite costly to me was not researching and following the rules. I've generally in life always been a troublemaker and a rule breaker. However, there's some things that have cost me. So when I moved, I just converted my driving license because I have been driving for a while, but I made one grave mistake of forgetting the rules as to what posted signs mean, and I one time parked in a loading zone and got charged almost $500. But we learned from that mistake. So always ask if you're not sure. Like, just say, hey, is this okay, or something. Another thing I would say that was a big mistake that I made too is not doing financial planning early enough. If anyone who knows me knows that I don't mess when it comes to like money and stewardship. So I've always been really great with budgeting and saving, but I didn't really understand investment. And sometimes when I'm thinking about it now, if I had started investing early, the spare change I had would probably have grown more. Hey, it's not too late. I'm still young, so it's always, I'll say the latest time to start investing is today, right? So I wish I learned that early. I always had the misconception that the banks are out to just sell me their products versus the amount of services you can get from a bank once you're just a customer. So always ask your bank for advice. You don't have to go with it, but things like having a retirement savings account, an RSP, tax-free savings account, a TFSA, these are all investment accounts really. Their names always throw people off, but having accurate savings and investments and planning towards like owning a home, if that is in your dream plan, in your vision board, all those things I wish I did a little bit earlier. And just for fun, one other big mistake I made, and this is honestly me just sharing with you guys like personal stuff, is not declaring all my food items at the airport. So here, if you want to judge me, because my mom packs my stuff sometimes and she be doing the most. And so this one I actually just learned very recently, I got like a huge fine, like almost 1,500, but I kind of paid half of that. So if you think that you can get away with not declaring stuff that you're bringing into Canada at the airport, don't be Janie. So those are kind of mistakes I have made so far. It's your turn to get personal with me. Can you share with me some mistakes or things you learned as a newcomer, fresh up the boat, JJC, whatever, in the comments? I want to actually get to know you too, because I feel like I've just put myself on blast like that. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you like this video, like it. If you love it, subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Have a blessed week. Let's get chatting in the comments. Talk to you later. Again, don't forget to watch the other video where I talked about most mistakes that other newcomers and new immigrants make. Thank you. Bye.